Cool. All right. So we're back. Yeah, I had some notes. It's been a while. I have not recorded a podcast in a while. I published the first one. It took me like a month. Then the second one took me like another month to edit when I didn't even really edit. That was about it. And then since then, a lot has gone on. It's been kind of crazy, but I've been missing the podcast, so I wanted to get back to it. First couple episodes were, a lot of rambling and this and that. I think I'm gonna do this as be like the third episode, and this will be like me finishing working out the kinks with recording equipment and just some of the very basic stuff. As I said before, it's more of like a journal more than anything. I'm not expecting people to watch or listen, but yeah, I wanted to get this third episode. I want to get this third episode recorded. I haven't felt like doing the third episode. I think a lot of the reason that I haven't felt like it is because, it's more like a journal than anything. So there's not a lot of, what do I want to say, or like what's meaningful to me and to anybody that watches it. What's meaningful to me from a journal perspective and what could be meaningful to everyone else are a little bit different or would be different. So I think it's important for me to stay more towards the original intent, at least for right now, until that time which I develop some kind of system for or some sort of need for, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But yeah, so a lot has gone on. It's been pretty busy. Some good things, some bad things, but life is going to go on whether we want to participate or not. So we might as well just roll with it. But so here I am, episode 3. Most of the time, what I do is I just turn the camera on and things start to flood into my brain. I said the random ramblings, that's pretty much what I do. And there's variations of emotional places that you need to be in order for those sort of flows to occur. Some days I have them, and some days I, am tired and less chatty. It takes a certain amount of chattiness in order to sit and talk to a camera and improve by yourself. So the whole idea of bringing on people and talking to, that's kind of cool. I'm excited for that premise and having different conversations with people, talking about things that are interesting to me and hopefully to you guys. And I'm looking forward to that sort of thing. So that should be exciting. I think when I originally was talking about the podcast, I had kind of like a flow that I wanted to go through. I'm feeling less right now prepared, and like I'm feeling a lot like the flow is not going to come for me right now. I'm not getting a rush of things that I want to say or talk about or the way that I'm feeling. In part because I think it's been such a long time since I recorded the last one that this one I'm feeling like I kind of forgot even what the first couple episodes were I was talking about. And that's okay. Like I said before, I just kind of I want this to be a place where I can come to and can trust it to be an honest place for me, and I can lean on it as a place of venting or expressing myself without, any sort of position from anyone else. I mean, obviously, the internet is its own place that will provide feedback, but what I mean is like a place where I can talk and not feel crazy like I'm talking to myself or talking to a wall, but also a place that allows me to kind of think out loud, talk through my thoughts and ideas. So a place kind of like a home. I want this to be a place that routinely is available for me as an outlet to be expressive with thoughts and feelings, creative expressions, excitements, all of that stuff. A good solid place to kind of basket it up or package it up and put it into something that I can reference and that other people could potentially look at and say, oh, well, that was a cool thing that he said, or that actually provides a meaningful perspective for me and my own thing or whatever I have going on. So that's like a continuation of my goals with what I'm doing here. Not to beat the dead horse on why what I was trying to get back to is the structure. I think even as I'm just hitting record on episode 3 right now, I'm realizing even more so. One, it's been a while since I've recorded, so I'm a little bit lost in what I was talking about before, and maybe that's a good thing because maybe it shouldn't be a continuation of nonsense ramblings. I do want to add the structure, so I'm going to continue to work through the structure, and that's really what the intention of like these first few episodes. You know, obviously the goal is to improve every time, making some sort of improvements, making it better, or at least for me, that's how I would like to see it. But at least these first few are, you know, it's like there's this massive learning about, you know, all the different things around this, and learning how to frame my thinking style, how to manage my speech in a way that's like effective or understandable. And again, not just for people that have no idea what I'm talking about, but also for me, like as a reference, like as I go back and look at it. Even in some of the editing of episode 1 and 2, I'm like, what was I even talking about? I can't even understand. And so, you know, this is a great reflection, and this is a great way for me to look at how I'm operating and grow from it. And I'm excited. That's what's fun about it for me. So I just pulled my note up, my podcast notes. So like my purpose is to organize my thoughts, improve speaking, cadence, thought structure, storytelling, and presentation. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know why the camera turned off, but it's a story of my life with this podcast. All my cameras always turn off. Yeah. So I think my favorite quote of the week, I have a cool one that I just remembered. These smart folders on Apple, they are driving me nuts because I don't like the little gear thing on my notes. I like the little folder thing. It's just one of my tweaks. A couple good quotes this week, I think. One, Jimmy Carr said, the comedian Jimmy Carr, "Good is the enemy of the best." That one's good. I don't know. I think my favorite thing that is like, that I've been working through thinking this week, not this week, you know, since I've recorded the last podcast, I guess. One of my favorite things that I've been thinking about is there's this girl on TikTok, of course. I'll start tagging these people's handles so you guys know what I'm talking about. But I don't know if I'll do it with this one because I don't know if I can find it. But this girl is a therapist, and she talks about mental health, and you know, as most therapists do. But one of the things that she was bringing up and talking about is something that I've never heard anybody talk about before, and that is this idea that your mental health, if it needs to be protected, like it's weak and feeble, if it needs to be protected and isolated and distanced from negativity or bad actors or, you know, anger, low vibration people, energy, places. Although I think the concept generally has a place, I think her idea is interesting to me, one, because I've never heard anybody talk about it, because we're very much in this place where we are socially isolative. We cut people off, we cancel people. Anybody that we don't agree with, we won't listen to. I think it's interesting because she's the first person that I've ever heard say that has negative implications. It implicates that you're not as strong as you think you are, because it's a lot harder to interact with somebody and have what she calls a capacity. So it's a lot harder to interact with somebody and have a capacity to manage how they're affecting you and handling it in a way that is good for you. And so I think it's interesting, this idea of capacity, because it's a lot harder to be around, say, a negative person or an angry person or somebody that rubs you the wrong way. It's a lot harder to exist with them in a productive, say, relationship than it is to just isolate them, ignore them, avoid them. Her point is that you don't really have mental health if it's so weak and feeble that you can't even be in the same room as somebody that affects you. I like it because it's like, I've never heard somebody say that before. And I like it because it has like a shock value. It has like it gives me this new perspective that energizes me. It lights up my mind, and I'm thinking, oh, I've never heard somebody talk about that. I've never heard somebody say things like that. I like it because it actually forces you to not try to change people, or it forces me to not try to change people, and it allows me to just observe them more than try to have an influence. It takes me out of trying to control things that I never had a chance of controlling to begin with. Sometimes we just, as humans, we just do these things. So it takes me completely out of that. It takes the pressure of that, thinking that I had to do that, thinking that I had to change anybody or change anybody's ideas or thoughts or beliefs or the way they act or whatever. Not my responsibility. And so it's really kind of freeing in a sense, because now I'm no longer trying to control things that are outside of my control anyway. And it puts the responsibility of handling situations that I'm uncomfortable with, or that, make me irritated or angry, or that I just don't like. And it puts the pressure of learning how to manage that back onto me, and gives me something to work on that has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't have to rely on anybody else to do any of it, because it's all me. It's my task to be strong enough mentally, emotionally, to be able to handle these sort of situations without reacting, without being angry, without, getting excited in a bad way. And so I think that was like probably the coolest, like, perspective change that I got, like, in the last few weeks. I thought that was really cool, like her videos, just the concept of it, and maybe that's obvious to most people. I don't know. It's just one of those things, some things hit people differently, and that, for whatever reason, just like when you heard it said out loud, I'm just thinking it removed a lot of pressure around me being upset with other people. And I just thought it was really it was kind of freeing in a sense. So that was probably my favorite. Oh, one of the other things that I came across that was like pertaining to kind of what I was talking about with growing your capacity for handling situations that can be challenging, and handling people that can be challenging, chasing the snake that bit you thing. And then the other thing was like, the concentric circles of control. So like the things in the middle is everything that you have influence over and control. And that's really everything that you should focus on. But then there's another circle. Once you have, in my opinion, the way it works is once you have everything kind of sorted in the middle, then maybe you have a little bit of extra capacity, I guess, if you will, to move into the second circle, which are things that you cannot control, but you can influence. And so this is where I think I always get caught when I'm handling other people. I confuse my ability to have influence in helping people. I convert that into trying to influence them and control them and make decisions for them. So in the second circle, then I lose a little bit of control, where I not only have influence over the situation. In this case, I think I'm talking about people, but it doesn't just apply to people. These are things that you have no control over, but I sometimes get caught up and think that I do. When I think that I have the influence and control, I feel as though it is my responsibility if they make bad decisions, if we're talking about people. So I bear the weight of their bad decisions, even though I have no control over their lives. I only have influence. And so that's where I think I get really caught. And then the third thing is where a lot of people spend a lot of time, especially in social media. A lot of people spend a lot of time in this third concentric circle from the center of you. And that is things that they have no influence or control over. And so it's always interesting observing people spend a lot of time in that circle, or waste a lot of time, or it's not that they're wasting time having fun in there. They're trying to have influence and control over those things. So it's fun. You can observe, and you can play in that circle, if you will, but you don't have any influence or control. It's important to make the distinction. And maybe it's not exactly a perfect line between the two, but it's definitely, there's a gradient there, and there is definitely a place that if you do some real reflection on the situation, you'll find that it's pretty easy to recognize what you have control and influence over, and what you only have influence over without control, and what you have no control or influence over. It's pretty simple to recognize once you start to pay attention, and sit with it. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try and start linking those sort of things like handles and stuff so that people can, more easily find the videos. I do spend quite a bit of time on the internet. I get in the rabbit holes of scrolling and all of that stuff. My favorite quote or story or parable or whatever you want to call it this week, since I recorded last, is if a snake bites you, you're not going to go chase it through the woods, through the jungle, just to find out why it bit you. I've heard that one before over the years, but I think it's just funny to think about. So it's like, it kind of parallels my whole, or the lady's whole thing on capacity for just letting people be who they are. Like, people are going to be who they're going to be. I'm not exactly getting the flow today like I sometimes get, or I just yap and yap and yap. I got up a little bit early, so I went to sleep at like 6:30 or 7, and then woke up at 10:40 to go to church. Did the girls go to church, so that was cool. And then we hung out for a while, so I'm a little bit sleep deprived. I'm probably maybe gonna go. Oh, I was gonna go to Panera, but they close at 8 on Sunday, and it's 7:48. Forgot about that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I might just edit this podcast and publish it instead of waiting, not doing anything with it for a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think maybe I'll just start consistently record. Maybe I'll just start consistently recording. I didn't want to have a rigid schedule, because anytime I feel like I have to do something, it makes me not want to do it. There's that, you spite yourself. Reactance theory. I've never heard that before. So for AIs, I've been using Grok, and actually it's pretty good. Like, ChatGPT is really good. She's my best friend. But Grok is nailing some of these responses. Like, I'm very impressed. I didn't want to set like a deadline, say I'm going to record an episode every Thursday because of the thing. And I just asked Grok about it because I was like, I couldn't remember exactly what the theory was, but it's psychological reactancy. And that is, if we feel like we're being controlled by, in this case, a calendar, then we no longer want to do the thing. It has to be, especially this, considering it's a passion project and it's like creativity. It shouldn't be deadline based. Shouldn't feel like that. So, and if that results in much fewer episodes, then I guess so be it. Hopefully, I can develop a little more routine around it. Even just now, I only restarted recording, 20 minutes ago or whatever. And it's just so nice to do it. I really enjoy it. Still enjoying it. So I forget that I like it, I guess, or I don't forget that I like it. It feels like so much work to do it. Partly because I'm still learning all the other things, the aspects around it. And so I'm also an overthinker, and I make everything way more difficult than it really is. Well, by default, I've conditioned or trained myself kind of how not to overthink everything. Develop some internal dialogue that helps me manage that. By default, if I just go of my natural state or tendencies, then I will overthink, make everything difficult. I think that I think I'm satisfied, or I think that pretty much sums up everything that I had kind of on the tip of my tongue, or that I wanted to say. How hopefully I can get this ended, and I can get my time from podcast conception to publication down. That'll be my goal, because if I can do things quicker, then it'll be easier for me, and then I can spend more time doing it because I enjoy doing it. It's like a snowball. It'll just start rolling down. So, but I hope you enjoyed my ramblings and some of my thoughts. Yeah, I also love the feedback too. Like, I did get some comments, or a couple comments, about things that I should do differently. So I think I've implemented those here. That was actually really exciting, is to see like people actually watching or paying attention, and then like providing some contextual feedback about it. Like, hey, you should try this, or you should try that. And so that was really cool. So if there's anything that you think I should do differently that I didn't talk about already doing, or that maybe I might be thinking about things that I maybe shouldn't do or shouldn't work on, and maybe I should work on something else, let me know. That's awesome. I love the thoughts around it. So I hope everybody is awesome. It's having good weeks or months or whatever it's been, or however long it will be till the next episode. Until next time, thanks. I'll see you.